Hello and thanks for joining us on Encore. Coming up in today's show, we meet a master of Indian dance, Raghunath Manet. The musician, singer and dancer has updated the Bharata Natyam dance from Pondicherry, traditionally a female practice. He's made it into a masculine art form. Manet's graced international stages from London's Globe to the Paris Opera and has worked with choreographers, filmmakers and performers from around the world. He's also an accomplished player of the Veena. The ancient stringed instrument is the star of his latest album entitled Karma. Raghunath's in the studio to tell us more. Raghunath, thanks so much for joining us. Now, among your many talents, music, dance and even film, I'm intrigued by your interpretation of the Bharata Natyam, this dance from Pondicherry. It's traditionally for women. You've rethought it for men. How difficult was that?
It was very difficult in the beginning because I wanted to learn to dance. My parents said no dance for a boy or for a man. I was just shocked because the god of dance is Shiva. It's a male god. So all the teachers was male dancers, like called Natunars. So I was shocked why we refused. So I learned to learn Veena and to sing, which was a great thing because I became a musician very young age. And I always wanted to learn dance. I used to imitate my sister's movements and closing a door in a room just to imitate any movements. So it came to me and it went to see my master, just teach me dance. He was telling, what are you going to do in the world with the dance? Because no more Devadasis temple dancers. And they all been destroyed, taken away from the temples. And what are you going to do? Become a doctor or engineer? I said, no, I want to become a dancer. I was so persuaded. So he taught me dance, and thanks to him.
And what about this idea of reversing gender roles in India? Is that very controversial?
Because don't forget, even in the Western countries, the male dancer was there to support the female dancers. They were not a great number one on the stage. And at the same time, in India, of course, the dancer was the cosmic dancer, Shiva. Finally, all the female dancers were dancing Shiva dance without lifting the legs. Oh, I was so shocked. I said, my God, I love the vibration of the dance form. And my body was vibrating and full of energy. That's I wanted. So I wanted to learn dance. And there was only female dancer who was teaching dance. And that didn't correspond me at all. So I have to go and see the male dancers who was teaching. They was too old to show me how they can dance. And Ram Gopal was living in London. He was a great master who taught me dance. And of course, M.S. Nathan in Pondicherry. And I went to study all the sculptures in the temples. Because in the temples, you have so much of sculpture standing. My system was how you bring out this pose and to another pose. And how you transform to another pose. And I was just amazed to see the sculptures. And I could build my choreographers, my music and my dance.
Okay, well, let's take a look at you in action. This is Raghunath on the stage here at Paris's Institut du Monde Arabe. And Raghunath will be performing again here in Paris as part of the Namasté festival. Now, this dance is originally from Pondicherry. That's historically a French-speaking part of India. You live between Pondicherry and here in France. How do the two cultures contribute to your creative process?
I think the Pondicherry was always a link, a window, like Nehru said. That's why we're celebrating Namasté France today. It's because the culture is so important. We had always a blend of culture. French people were there 350 years, and it's a lot. Even on French table, you find paper, which comes from India. There's been always a link between cultures. In Opéra de Paris, the story was Les Bayadères. Les Bayadères, it's a story of the Indian dancers of Pondicherry. Because those days, there was no flights. People used to travel by flight many, at least a month. They used to come to Pondicherry to see Indian dancing, Indian dancers, Devadasis, Natunas, the mythology, the Shiva dance. So they brought back a clin d'oeil in the Opéra de Paris. So I think we have been artists, always a link between West and East, and India and France.
There's always been this exchange. Now, in a very different style now, you created a dance performance called Bollywood Ballet for the Avignon Theatre Festival here in France. Bollywood's perhaps one of the most visible, most popular exponents of Indian culture. Do you think it's a good ambassador for India?
Bollywood, the name is something very new, which came in the platform. Okay. We have been traditional dancers. When the dance was banned in India, most of the dancers, when the cinema was coming up, so they went to play in the movies in the cinema. So because dancers, we don't just do movements. We sing, we express the expressions of the faces. So we were the first best comedians to play in the cinema. That's why there was a traditional way to bring out temple dances to the stage, to the cinema. So we have been contributing a lot, composing for the film, playing, dancing for the film, etc. You could see all the cinema history of India. So it was normal that we contribute today. People come to us, please do some traditional movements, some modern movements in Bollywood. Bollywood is just a name I'm from South India, from Pondicherry and South Tamil Nadu. We call it Kollywood, Bollywood, Pondiwood. I just created a name for the cinema festival in Pondicherry soon, Pondiwood. So that's just a name. It means cinema, dance, music. It's something together.
Okay. And now, as well as creating dance, you've also researched the practice. You made a documentary called Dance of Shiva about the ecstatic dance of the Hindu deity. Ecstatic dance doesn't sound very religious. Can you explain this element of Hinduism?
It was important for me because as I wanted to study dance, I needed to understand why it was banned to dance for a man. So I have to study the postures of Shiva. What is Shiva? Shiva just is a philosophy. People know Hinduism, the modern Hinduism. But the philosophy of Shiva, it gives birth to Buddhism. Everybody knows about Buddhism. They've forgotten the real olden type of Shivaism. So I needed to explain who is Shiva. What is his philosophy? Why is he dancing? Can you imagine? All over the world, we have one dancer, the god is Shiva. So my documentary film is a part of my PhD. So I made it a documentary to make it access not only to Western people, also for the Indians. We all go to the temples, we pray. Because if you ask questions, who is whom, it's not always eligible. So we need to understand who is Shiva. And I love Shiva because it's a tolerant philosophy. It welcomes everybody. And it's a beautiful philosophy which I wanted to tell to the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, now we're moving to music now because you do make music with the Veena instrument and you're releasing an album, Karma. Let's take a listen to one of the tracks from that record. This is called Aigiri. And Raghunath, on that album, you play the Veena, this very ancient stringed instrument. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Because people don't know what is Veena. Everybody knows what is sitar because Ravi Shankar lived in Paris like me. He was a dancer also. He introduced finally sitar. Because of the Beatles, everybody knows about it. But my instrument is the oldest instrument, really Indian instrument, which is carved in every temples. And it's not known. And today, I let it know. I'll be very pleased to people to discover it. Veena is the oldest spiritual instruments, which gives 5 octaves. It's something fantastic. So hope you could come and listen to me in my concert.
Okay, well, we're going to listen to some of that now in just a second. Raghunath, thanks so much for joining us today. We'll leave you with a little live music courtesy of Raghunath on the Veena. Remember to check out our website and Encore's social media channels. There's more news coming up on France 24 right after this.
jum dum da da. Da dim da da dim da da dim da dim dim da da. Da jum dum da da. Da jum dum da da. Da jum dum da da.